it's going to be our biggest show ever here in New York City, in the greatest city.
So Joe Hendry came out representing TNA with that world title. What was going through your mind there?
I think it's the biggest moment in the 23-year history of TNA.
I'd be remiss if I did not mention one name that fans have been wanting to see, and that's AJ Styles, who has so much history. Could we ever see something like that in the future?
Rewind, recap, relive. Woo! That's what the world is watching.
What's up, everyone? It's R3 Jonah here ahead of one of the most anticipated and important Slammiversaries in TNA history. And I'm here with one of the men that's making that happen, TNA President Carlos Silva. Carlos, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's awesome to be here. I mean, there's so much hype into it. We keep hearing how important this event is for TNA. Can you, as the president, kind of tell us why this one's more important than we've ever seen before?
Well, I think it's going to be our biggest show ever here in New York City, in the greatest city in the world, in New York City. Great arena at, the new UBS Arena, home of the Islanders. John Ledecky, the owner, has been very hospitable with us and has helped us with promotion. We're just excited to be in the big city on the big stage.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been really putting boots to the ground. You did Subway Mania with the Hardys. The Hardys went all through Times Square in their gear, which was so awesome to see. More than even the WWE partnership, which is, of course, providing a lot of great publicity for TNA, I feel like the roster itself has so much passion. It seems like reinvigorated almost this past year or past few years. Have you seen that too from the roster?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I've only been around since the beginning of the year, but it's even built every 30 days as we've gone from show to show from January till now, really with the target being Slammiversary. And I think it's continued, that energy has continued to build. It's built on the men's side with our world champion and the relationship with WWE NXT and Trick Williams now, getting the belt, and how that's going to all play out at Slammiversary, but also on the Knockouts division and the women's tag team. It's like all of it. We've brought in some new stars from overseas in the UK. We brought in Indy Hartwell, and it's just there just feels like there's this great energy with everybody.
Yeah. No, there's such a buzz. I mean, TNA, it is on fire. And so for those who don't know, you joined as acting president, was it December, January time period?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. So what is your day-to-day running TNA look like? Would you say, or is it always different?
Day to day, in between, when we're not going to an event, it's really working through the operations of the business, from sponsorship to talent relations and our wrestlers to venues and how we lay out. We're already looking at 2026 and how we lay out the 2026 season, to our marketing, how we fill the stadium, and then of course how we work on our TV production to continue to build the show on a weekly basis with impact. We have a great team down in Nashville, led by Eric Tompkins, who's been here for years and years and has such a passion for what we do. And we've just continued to sort of elevate the brand and elevate sort of, as I like to say, the fit and finish of everything that we do.
And so you have 25 years experience in the combat sports media world, but have you ever really dove into anything professional wrestling? Because I feel like we all know it's like its own unique world.
It's definitely its own unique world, and I have not been I haven't been a professional executive inside of a wrestling organization. I did run World Series of Fighting, sold it, helped build Professional Fighters League in the early days. So I've been in and around combat. I do know the sort of TKO engine a little bit, because I've been part of that before it became TKO on the Endeavor side, and built a lot of leagues and sports and entertainment properties, told a lot of stories, and so excited to sort of bring all of that knowledge from the last 25 years, along with a great team and a great foundation in the 20 plus years of TNA to sort of take it and continue to grow it.
Yeah, no, there's so much history, and I know you already have your wheels turning. I heard you on Ariel Helwani, which was an awesome interview. Talk about the TV deal that you hope TNA could get. Is that any closer to kind of getting TNA, at least in the US, like a TV deal?
Not any closer from what I spoke about it yesterday, but look, we continue to work on it literally every single day. We've got great relationships in other parts of the country. We did sign a big deal with Sportsnet up in Canada. We signed a great deal with Claro in Mexico. We've got a big deal with WBD over in India. Access TV has been our partner. We actually own and operate Access TV inside the Anthem family of sports and entertainment. But we've been deep in discussions with our partners at CAA to work on where TNA goes next. How do we go live more often? How do we continue to elevate the product for the fans every week?
Well, what is live is Slammiversary coming up July 20th. There's the massive triple threat match. You got Trick Williams, Mike Santana, and Joe Hendry. We saw you front row when Trick Williams did take that TNA World title. And I'm curious kind of what was going through your head as the camera was on you when you were front row there. Not only, seeing Trick take the title storyline was, but also seeing TNA represented kind of with the world title on a WWE guy.
Look, I think maybe there's a bittersweet when those things happen. Great to have TNA and the World Championship belt. Certainly it was great to have it at Royal Rumble. It was great to have it at WrestleMania. It was great that NXT and the CW audience got to see the continued elevation of the TNA belt. But also, wondering how, with Trick being part of the WWE NXT roster, how it would play out with our belt now in the WWE NXT organization. But it's been an interesting sort of 6 weeks or so since that's happened. There's been a lot of excitement around it. There was certainly a lot of tension and excitement between Joe and Trick. And then now with Santana being added to the mix, I think it continues to elevate the excitement going into Slammiversary. So it's going to be it's our main event. It's what everyone's talking about. I'm excited to see it.
No, so am I, and it's unprecedented, and I feel like it just goes into the wheelhouse of TNA overall of always showing fans like something they haven't seen before, and that certainly is their world title on somebody else. So hopefully Mike and Joe one of them can bring it home to Team TNA. You mentioned WrestleMania, so Joe Hendry came out representing TNA with that world title. You were there, I heard you say, in attendance. So what was going through your mind there? How big was it, not only for Joe, but also just TNA as a whole, having that exposure on WrestleMania?
I think it's the biggest moment in the 23-year history of TNA to see, and not just Joe there with the belt, but Joe there with the belt as a surprise, and to also see 70 plus thousand people in the Raiders Allegiant Stadium all singing, Joe Hendry, all waving their arms. And I just think we told our talent, our locker room, that was all of us there on that stage with Joe. And I think he represented us so well. Certainly some, really nice comments from Paul after the match about Joe as well as Randy. And so that's what you really want here. This is about really bringing these opportunities to the fans and elevating the brand for the fans.
Yeah, I was also there in attendance, and it was, I think, the loudest reaction I heard that night. Like, people just everywhere you could see, people shut up at once when Joe's music came.
It was great. It was really amazing.
It was fantastic. So being kind of at the forefront, like you are right now, of TNA, doing something that nobody's really seen, of like trading talent on such a weekly basis like you are with WWE, what is that process kind of like, of like, we're going to send somebody there, they're going to send somebody here, and then like the creative aspect of telling a story across multiple shows like that?
Really, it's really an extension of what we do on the creative side every single week with Tommy and with Hunter, with Eric, the rest of our production team, but now working with Shawn Michaels down at NXT, Johnny Russo. We've all just gotten into a rhythm around what we're doing. We do just like we do with each other. We have an extension with them. They ask us questions. We work through issues. We try to understand the schedule, people getting where they need to be, because as you know, just the logistics of making sure that people are where they need to be on certain nights is a big deal. It's great having the Performance Center and being on CW with NXT on Tuesday nights, and it's really been seamless. And I'd say, especially over the last 90 days, quite easy and very team oriented, which is great.
That is great. No, that's awesome to hear that everything is able to work so seamlessly, and it shows with the content that's being produced for sure. I'd be remiss if I did not mention one name that fans have been wanting to see come over to TNA from WWE, and that's AJ Styles, who has so much history. I don't know if you've been asked yet or not, or if you've heard his name come up, but could we ever see something like that in the future?
Look, maybe we got a little nibble there. If you saw the Open when Trick defended the belt down in Tampa, I think it was Battleground for NXT. They did an amazing open. Our partners at WWE NXT, amazing open with the history of TNA and where it's been,
yeah.
and AJ voiced that piece for us, which I thought was like a really cool, like authentic way to present that 2-minute vignette on air, and it was really great. Look, we'd love for those types of things to happen. Whether it's AJ or others. I think that's all part of how we work through the partnership with them. And, so far so good. I think it'll continue.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know fans would be very excited to see that happen. So we'll see down the road. But we have seen the regimes in TNA over the years. Like when I started watching when I was younger, it was Dixie Carter. And then we saw Scott D'Amore. What could fans expect from the regime of Carlos Silva, kind of as TNA president? Do you want to get more involved with an on-screen presence like we'd seen in the past, or are you going to stay more kind of like reserved?
No, I think I'll stay, as the president in the front office, do some things that I need to do as the president. But that's my role. We've got such a great talent roster. Look, I'm available however the team needs around the brand and around elevating TNA.
Yeah.
But that's my role, and I think that's how you're going to continue to see me be used.
I do think it's cool to see you front row so much for a lot of these events, repping the TNA hat and everything.
I'll continue
to do it.
Yeah, look, I think that's the job of, for me as the president, that is my job, to be there to support these athletes that are flying around the world to put on these shows for all the fans. It's kind of the least that we can do to also be there, take care of them, and be there to cheer them on to great performances.
No, absolutely. And we saw you did create a really cool tradition so far in TNA. Casey Navarro was the first, the TNA All Star Tradition. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what made you start that for TNA?
Yeah, sure. I think people know I'm a big sports and entertainment guy. I've been in sports my whole career. I've always wanted to be able to give fans a little bit of inside the rope feeling. We all as executives get credentialed, as media we get credentialed. We get to go places that regular fans don't really get to go. I've always loved the tradition of, especially in the NFL or even in college football, when the game ball is given away in the locker room. Okay. And that, feeling of the coach holding up the game ball and, saying, so-and-so had such a great, the whole place goes crazy. So I just thought that I've gotten some awards over my years doing some things, and I just thought it'd be nice around each of the events that we've got that we would name a TNA All-Star. Yeah. And we kind of give everyone a little live look in on giving that away so that the fans can also share with the enthusiasm and the support from every single member of the staff and the talent. Doesn't matter who wins so far. You look at it, everyone has been so excited for the winners. And I think it's nice to share that with not just each other inside of the organization, but also with the fans. So we're going to continue to do that at every event. We've had three awards now, and we're going to continue to do it. It's really great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you saying like everyone was happy.
Sorry, 4 awards.
4 awards now.
Three wrestlers have gotten it, and we gave one away to one of our top support staff that help all the wrestlers operationally. So those 4 have been our first 4 All-Stars. It's been fun.
And I feel like you saying that everyone was happy for each other just goes more into like the TNA family tight-knit locker room that we're seeing, which is, I don't know if it's as unique anymore in the industry, but it's definitely one of the tightest that I've seen from wrestlers saying that they love it there, they love their peers, and to watch each other's success.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah, no. Well, so as your time as TNA president so far, we mentioned some big moments that we've seen throughout, the WWE partnership and everything. But is there a moment that you really enjoyed seeing, whether it was front row or watching from behind the scenes, happen so far?
I mean, there's been so many. I mean, one that I just I personally enjoyed is when Leon, such a cool young star and such a great athlete, when he dove from the top of the X above the ring and made it on SportsCenter. I mean, I've always throughout my career talked about SportsCenter moments. You always want to be the number one on SportsCenter if you can get there. It doesn't matter whether you're in the Olympics or tennis or wrestling or MMA or any of those things. And I just thought, not just for Leon, because he's he's a great guy, but also for the organization, I thought it was cool that we made that moment.
That is so cool. And Leon Slater, I saw a really cool stat heading into Slammiversary that Leon Slater, I believe, is trying to become the youngest right now X Division champion, while Moose is chasing the longest title reign, and that is such a cool clash that we're going to see between them.
Yeah,
So,
it's a great clash, and we'll see how it sorts out. It's gonna be exciting.
no, definitely. Well, I want to thank you for your time. I'm sure it's been an extremely busy week, and really just last few months building up to Slammiversary. Like we said, July 20th, UBS Arena. Don't miss it. I'm assuming you will be front row.
Of course,
Of
I'll be
course.
there. It's
All
gonna
right.
be great. Make sure you come out. We'd love to see you in New York City at UBS on July 20th. Thanks, everybody.
Rewind, recap, relive. Woo! That's what the world is watching.